You're sitting in a conference room at FBI headquarters. Your colleagues are staring at a list of names, Soviet assets, all of them arrested, all of them gone. Someone in this building is feeding Moscow everything, and they've asked you to find out who. You've been doing this for 22 years. You know every technique, every method, every mistake a mole makes. You know all of this because you are the mole. This is how that's possible. You are 25 years old, Chicago, 1976. You've just joined the FBI. Before that, you were a police officer. Before that, an accountant. You are not the obvious candidate for anything. You are rigid, precise, deeply Catholic, Opus Dei. 6 children, a wife named Bonnie who believes in you completely. You go to Mass every morning. You pray the rosary. You criticize women in the office for wearing pantsuits. You are, by every visible measure, the most conventional man in any room you enter. That is the point. The FBI assigns you to counterintelligence. Your job is to find Soviet spies operating inside the United States. You are good at it, methodical, patient. You understand how the Soviets think because you've studied them obsessively. You understand their tradecraft, their dead drops, their communication protocols, their blind spots. You file this away. But here's what nobody at the FBI knows. You've been thinking about this for 3 years, not about catching Soviet spies, about becoming one. 1979. You make contact with Soviet military intelligence, the GRU, not the KGB. You choose the GRU deliberately. You've studied both organizations. You know the GRU is less sophisticated, less dangerous. You are testing the water. You pass them information for 2 years. Then you stop, just like that. You walk away. The GRU never knows your real name. They never know where you work. They never know anything about you except what you chose to give them. You think about what you just did. You committed treason. You walked away clean. Nobody noticed. You file that away too. But here's where it stops being a spy story. What comes next is genuinely hard to believe. 1985. You've been promoted. You're now a senior counterintelligence agent in New York. You have access to everything. The names of every Soviet asset the FBI is running inside the USSR. The locations of classified listening posts, the details of a secret tunnel the FBI has spent millions of dollars digging under the Soviet embassy in Washington, nuclear war contingency plans, satellite intelligence, the identities of KGB officers who have secretly agreed to work for the United States. You have access to all of it. On October 1st, 1985, you sit down and write a letter, not to the GRU this time, to the KGB, the real thing. You don't sign your name. You call yourself Ramon Garcia. In the letter, you give them 3 names: Boris Yuzhin, Valery Martinov, Sergei Motoran, 3 KGB officers who have been secretly working for the FBI and CIA inside the Soviet Union. 3 men with families, 3 men who trusted the United States to protect them. You seal the envelope, you mail it, you go home for dinner. Bonnie has made something. The children are loud. You say grace. Martinov and Motorin are recalled to Moscow within months. They are arrested, tried, executed. Yuzhin receives 15 years in a Soviet labor camp. You are now officially one of the most dangerous men in the world. Nobody knows it, including the people sitting next to you at work. You think the most dangerous moment has already passed? It hasn't. The FBI is in crisis. Assets are disappearing. Operations are being burned. Someone is feeding Moscow information at a level that suggests a penetration at the highest levels. The CIA has the same problem. They don't know yet that both problems have the same source. They launch an internal investigation. They need their best counterintelligence minds on it. In 1987, they assign you to investigate the leak. You are now officially in charge of finding the mole who betrayed Martinov and Motorin. You are the mole who betrayed Martinov and Motorin. You write a detailed study of the penetration, how it was done, what the mole's methods were, what the FBI should look for. You are very thorough. In 1988, you passed the entire study to the KGB. The KGB now has the FBI's internal investigation into the KGB's best asset inside the FBI, written by the asset himself. Your tradecraft is unlike anything the KGB has ever seen. You refuse to meet in person ever. You use only dead drops, specific locations, specific timing, specific signals. A piece of tape on a mailbox means a package is ready. A thumbtack in a specific telephone pole means the drop has been collected. You never use the same location twice in a row. You never carry classified documents in a briefcase. You wrap them in plastic bags, ordinary, invisible. You study the FBI's own surveillance techniques and design your operations specifically to defeat them. You also do something that no other spy in American history has ever done. You tell the KGB nothing about yourself. No name, no photograph, no physical description, no location. The KGB knows you as Ramon Garcia. They know you work somewhere in American intelligence. That is all they know for 22 years. If you're still with me, make sure you're subscribed, because what happens next is the part nobody talks about, and it's the part that almost destroys everything. 1991. The Soviet Union collapses. The KGB dissolves. You stop. Again, you walk away from the operation for 8 years. You go to mass. You raise your children. You get promoted. You are assigned to the State Department as a liaison. You now have access to diplomatic intelligence as well. You file that away. 1999. You make contact again. The KGB is now the SVR. Russia's Foreign Intelligence Service. Different name. Same people, same dead drops. You pass them more documents, more names, more secrets. You also do something reckless for the first time. You search the FBI's internal databases to check if anyone is investigating you. On August 11th, 1999, you search your own name. Nothing comes up. But here's what you don't know. The FBI has been quietly buying information. Somewhere in Moscow, a former KGB officer named Alexander Shcherbakov has a file. Inside that file, fingerprints lifted from a garbage bag you left at a dead drop, voice recordings, a plastic bag with your DNA. The FBI pays $7 million for that file. The fingerprints match. They know it's you. They don't arrest you immediately. They watch you. They document everything. They build a case so complete that there will be no defense, no ambiguity, no escape. February 18th, 2001, Foxstone Park, Vienna, Virginia. You walk into the park with a package of classified documents. You place it at the dead drop location. You turn to leave. They're already there. FBI agents step out from the trees, from behind the benches, from the path ahead of you. You look at them, you say, "What took you so long?" 22 years, that's what took them so long. The investigation that follows is the most comprehensive damage assessment in FBI history. What you gave Moscow over those 22 years, the names of every Soviet asset the FBI and CIA were running inside the USSR. The existence of a classified tunnel under the Soviet embassy in Washington worth tens of millions of dollars to build. American nuclear war contingency plans. Details of the government's continuity of operations program, where American leadership would go in the event of a nuclear strike. The identities of KGB officers who had agreed to work for the United States, thousands of classified documents over a period of 2 decades in exchange for $1.4 million in cash, diamonds, and a Rolex watch. At least 3 men were executed because of what you told Moscow, possibly more. The full number has never been confirmed. On July 6, 2001, you plead guilty to 15 counts of espionage. You are sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. You die in a federal prison in Colorado on June 5, 2023. You're 79 years old. Bonnie never remarried. She received a portion of your FBI pension. The government allowed it. She had 6 children. She had no idea. The FBI's official assessment calls you the most damaging spy in FBI history. Not the most sophisticated, not the most ideologically motivated, the most damaging. You started as a man who went to mass every morning and believed in order, in rules, in the idea that the right people were in charge of the right things. You ended in a federal prison having spent 22 years proving that the right people weren't watching closely enough, and that the most dangerous person in any room is the one everyone already trusts. Was Robert Hanssen a traitor who believed in nothing? or a man who believed so completely in his own superiority that the rules simply didn't apply to him? Subscribe! Next week, we cover the man who was running at the same time, on the other side of the building, Aldrich Ames, the CIA officer who sold his country's secrets for 9 years, and how both men were handled by the same KGB officer. Neither knew the other existed.